Hello and welcome to Howard's Cave of Wonder. I'm Chris, aka Howard Blues, welcoming you to my Cave of Wonder, and I'm in the cave proper tonight. Truthfully, I call my whole basement the Cave of Wonder. However, this space in here where all my games and miniatures and all of that is, this is the cave proper, as I call it. And I'm doing that because I wanted to do something a little different. Instead of blogging and doing this a hobby project, I thought I would actually talk about some games. And this was partially sparked. This whole idea was sparked because a little while ago, I was doing these quickfire reviews, and I was quickly just kind of hitting a couple of just different campaigns that caught my eye on crowdfunding and just giving a quick first impressions of the page. And one of those I did was for a 5e supplement called Obojima, and they were coming out with their second book, which was Yadoman, which is all centered around one of the big cities from that setting. During that review, it would have been an excellent time to review the first book. But I didn't have it. I hadn't received it at that point, so I couldn't show it off or talk about it. And I also mentioned in there that I had just gotten my shipping confirmation. Well, it is here. I have it. And I thought it'd be worth chatting about this. But the interesting thing is, at the same time that this came in, this doozy came in. This is from Steamforged Games. This is the Strangelight Workshop addition to the War Machine 5e. And I thought it'd be an interesting to compare these things and give a look at them. I think before I can dive fully into these, sometimes within our geeky culture, we feel the need to drop the credentials that like I have the bona fides to be talking about this stuff. I will put it this way. I started playing D&D in 2nd edition. I had a friend who invited me into his group, played 2nd edition. So, yes, I did play with Thaco, and after I moved to 3rd edition, Thaco just became I don't even want to think about it. I did not start collecting any books or materials when we played 2e. We played with my friend's copy until 3rd edition, and I had taken a break. My 2nd edition game that we played in high school ended very badly and kind of put a bitter taste. I liked playing role-playing games, did not care for how that one ended, and someday I'll tell that story. 3rd edition came out. I didn't really get into it. I passed. In college, I had a couple of buddies who were playing. I managed to get in on their game. Really enjoyed playing 3E, 3rd edition. And started collecting a lot of the books and such that came out for that. And then 4th edition came out. And let me tell you, 4th edition was my jam. I know it's controversial, and not everybody likes 4th edition. I often will make the argument that if they hadn't called it D&D, if they had just made it as a really cool role-playing game, I think would have done much better. But because it was D&D and was different enough, people didn't like it, but I loved it. And I loved the fact that it was so simple and so, to me, streamlined. I didn't even really have to look at the Dungeon Master's Guide. I didn't have to look up rules because it was all just so simple. It was great. As long as I had the stat blocks, I could run it all day long. So I really liked 4th. I haven't had a chance to play 5th, but I have picked up the basics. You can kind of see him hiding behind me here. And I picked up a few books here and there for it. I didn't really have a game group. My last game group, we played the Star Wars role-playing game from Fantasy Flight. We had a lot of fun with that. But my game group all went off to college, and that's fine. And so I haven't had a real reason to collect a lot of D&D. However, once I knew that I was having a son, I got a little bit more into that. I want to play D&D with him at some point. I should pick up some things I've started collecting. It also helped if it was a universe I liked, and I started with the War Machine, the Iron Kingdom, and Roleplaying. Now, the interesting thing was they did a couple of versions of this. This is actually the original one, which had their own rules and settings. It was very closely based on D&D, but had some things that were different. So they started with that, but eventually they would come out with their own. There we go. Yeah. So the Requiem campaign thing. So yeah, they went with 5e because 5e became so popular thanks to things like Critical Role, such. And so I, of course, got this because, hey, here's the cool thing. It gave me a use for a lot of the models and miniatures that I loved collecting from War Machine and Hordes. And so I picked this up and I kind of collected. It also came with some fun miniatures for it. So I had a reason to kind of get into this particular setting. So fast forward, and the newest one is, of course, the Strangelight Workshop. Now, the Strangelight Workshop is very interesting. It's the best way I can describe it. It's a little bit like the X-Files meets the Ghostbusters. It's kind of the paranormal and occult of the War Machine universe. And I was really excited. I was not expecting, however, for it to come in this really kind of awesome box that looks really snazzy. It's really shiny because I haven't taken the styrofoam off of it, or the plastic wrap off of it. So I'm going to do that here in a second. I want to change my camera view a little bit so you can see. But I also it came with miniatures. And unfortunately, I don't know why they packed this box on the bottom. And so it's a little, I think there in the camera, you can kind of see because it's also white. So the box got a little crunched. So let's start with this. Then we'll open up that big thing. So again, I don't know if you're going to be able to see on that all that well there. If I kind of tilt it down so you can see, the tray got pretty well busted in there, but the miniatures themselves, they look to be pretty good. Looking at these miniatures, these are great. They are super detailed and very characterful, which I absolutely enjoy. And the quality of them are great. I mean, they are definitely a board game-esque miniature. You know, they're better than Reaper Bones. They are sturdy. Like there's a hardness to them. But at the same time, they're not necessarily like a resin. But they're not a Games Workshop like hard plastic. But they're nice. They're great. I couldn't be happier with them. I think that these are amazing miniatures that came with it, and I'm excited to paint them up, and really have just some fun with that. I think they're going to paint up beautifully. I haven't really examined them too closely, but even for what I have, like the mold lines and such, have been pretty minor as far as I can tell. There's still some, but I don't know that they're going to be harder to clean than any other miniature out there. All right, so this big box, as I said, it's a gorgeous presentation. I forgot to mention that it did come with one other thing, and that's this right here, and that is it is our GM screen which looks to be made out of a nice kind of cardboard material. And I'm sure there's all sorts of fun stats and stuff on the inside. I know it's still in the saran wrap, so it's a little hard to see. Let's open it up. One of the things you could put down in the comments, are you a big fan of GM screens? I don't tend to be. I think it's because I ran so much stuff off of a computer. I just haven't felt the need for it. But I know some people absolutely swear by them. So here we go. Look at that. Look at all this fun information on this screen. And I could easily kind of go through all of it, but yeah, we got some nice stuff. What I really like is it does look kind of like if you were a conspiracy theorist, with kind of all sorts of stuff laid out and drawings and all of that. So that's very cool, to show off kind of the fun art. It continues that conspiracy theory stuff with the red yarn and the notes and the pictures all tapped in there. So very fun. Might be the first thing that I actually would use a GM screen for. Oh, let's open this box. So I'm excited about this. When I first heard that we were getting the Strangelight workshop, I actually went out and tracked down a copy of, they did a Strangelight workshop like anthology lore book years ago for the game, and I tracked it down, bought it, read most of it. I'm not going to lie, it's not that like the subject matter didn't interest me, and I hate to badmouth anybody's writing, especially when that's like I haven't written a book, but I really did struggle getting through it. It just, I don't know, it didn't jive. Okay. Oh. Let's open this bad boy. Okay. We can see we got some goodies in here. We got a Strangelight workshop patch. That's cool. I'll have to figure out a use for it, but very awesome. We got a dice bag with the Strangelight logo on there. And look at this. Strangelight Workshop. This certifies that blank, because I gotta put my own name on there. The blank has completed the mandated training required to be considered a Strangelight Workshop field agent, as set out and organized by the chief instructor, Sandra Garcia. They are therefore awarded this certificate of membership and is hereby invested with all the rights and privileges granted a workshop agent, as well as responsibilities pertaining thereto. All funeral arrangements to be discussed. Croman Bailey, quartermaster. And it's signed. I'm going to have to get my wife, who's got a much nicer handwriting, to put my name up there as a fun thing. But look at the embossing on that sticker. That is nice. I'm going to set that to the side over here. I might frame that. I have diplomas that I haven't framed, but I will frame that and hang that up in my cave somewhere, because why not? We got some metal coins that came in this one. Yeah. Omnibus locker token. This one has some strange writing and such on it. That's interesting. We got a Strangelight Workshop coin. Please return any remains to Blackley Hall. That's what it says here on the back. There's that. And then we have this Mr. L and yeah, I'm not sure what this one is, but just another interesting metal coin. So some metal coins, those are kind of cool. We have a set of Strangelight dice. I don't know if my camera will do these Baby's Justice. You can see it has the Strangelight lantern on the 20 there. But it is a beautiful, like purple, cloudy, glittery. These are gorgeous. I am not going to let my daughter know that I have these because she will claim those. I have a stamp. This is kind of fun. This is great. Yeah, little stamp here with, again, the Strangelight symbol. So that would be cool if I get into making props and such. And here, so this is a Cyril City cloth map. Wow, that is kind of cool. I am not gonna lie, I'm gonna have to figure out a. I think I might have to figure out a way to display this thing. I have my camera so close, you're not going to be able to really get a true sense of it. But wow, that is a really cool map and piece. I'll maybe try and take a picture of it and put it in. But wow, that's a beautiful thing. Let's see what else we got here. We have a tarot card deck, encounter, entity, and twist cards. I don't know that I want to give too much of this away because that might spoil other people who are running this setting, but let's maybe take a brief dally into it. Okay, so yeah, we got a nice piece of artwork here. Entity file number 1. Adaya. Adaya is an umbral reaver who is tasked with slaying high-profile targets during the claiming. It still pursues its targets, hopping from shadow to shadow to get close to the next name on its list. So, yeah, this looks like it gives you some different things that you can throw into your campaign. As I said, I don't want to necessarily reveal all of those because there might be things in there that shouldn't be that. And we got some spell cards. Let's see what they kind of look like. Again, wrapped inside. And I mean, here's the fun kind of thing I like about this is it looks like it's somebody's report. I know it's a little hard to see because of this saran wrap, but we got Arcane Bolt here. And I just love it. I'm going to use some versions, but it looks like a report down to like the, hey, I've underlined some important things and circled this bit so that you know that. And yeah, that's fun. Classified file, Strangelight Workshop spell card. Approved for release. I mean, I have to say that the branding on this version is far different and so far like amazing compared to what I've gotten from the other War Machine. So, and then here we got case files that are supposedly top secret, and these I'm guessing are adventures that I'm guessing we can run. And there's looks like to be some maps in there, along with some other info. And again, I don't want to necessarily give anything away because people might be looking to play this on their own, but it's a cool presentation, and there's 4 of them. And I can tell you, because it's not going to come across on camera, these things are hefty. These are thick files. That's for certain. Now we get to the books. Here we have the Spectronomicon. So this is our bestiary, our monster manual. And again, it's 5e compatible. 80 plus nightmarish creatures, complete with lore, artwork, and stat blocks, a host of NPCs, and gangs to inhabit your world. So, and again, I'm loving the presentation on this. a whole lot. Fun conspiracy theory vibe to it. Let's try and open this up so we can go look at the inside. Okay, so this is interesting. As I do that, I thought this was just the back cover. No, it's a little leaflet actually. That's the back cover. And I gotta say, the art on this thing is gorgeous. I'm gonna slide my lid back a little bit so I have some room here with the camera. And yeah, just some nice artwork on it. So as I said, I won't go through all of this, but just this is fun. The fact that they all have case numbers, and it looks like we get to deal with infernals and grimkin and spirits and X-class entities. And that it gives us some information on kind of how the Strangelight kind of works and some of the categories, and then we get into it. And this art, I will try to get it to a point where you can hopefully see some of it. But if you notice, it's got a texture to it. It looks like a wood engraving kind of stamp to it. And again, I love that they've got a lot of these paper clips and cards and things are stapled in. It's there's some time and effort that went into this, and it's beautiful. The texture gets a little annoying on some of these where it's really dark because it gets a little hard to see kind of everything. I like the art a little bit brighter like this where I can see what exactly these things are. But all of these, I mean, it's just fun, scary stuff. Grimkin, my boys. Baron Tonguelick, Lord of Warts, the Boatman, the Cage Rager, one of my faves. One of the sad things about the whole Privateer Press, Steamforged kind of change is, you know, they're moving forward, and a lot of the models for these things are just out of print. So getting a hold of the miniatures that would fit some of these things is just, it's going to be difficult. So I would hope that maybe Steamforged will come up with a solution to that, so that you could get some of these things, not just for playing, you know, War Machine and Hordes, but just so that you could use them like on an actual like game. So as it's scrolling through here, we got all sorts of fun things. We get into like infernal cults in here. There's some gangs and gang related stuff. So just some different orders. So it gives you some story elements with it as well. So just a whole lot of fun. So that's the bestiary, and I think that kudos. That's great. And of course, the Mac Daddy, the Strangelight Workshop Operations Manual, authorized personnel only. Sanity of recipient before and after reading cannot be guaranteed. That's what the warning says on the bottom. This is beautiful. It's got that textured, almost like faux leather look to it with kind of that gold printing. I'm not going to lie. This has been beautiful. I don't know that I have ever gushed this much about a D&D book before. I haven't even seen the inside. I'm now really curious. Everything else has been so well done and thought of. I guess I didn't look to see what all we have on the back. But yeah. Riveting paranormal investigations, peculiar and intriguing class ancestries, unique character essence system, special haunting system, 70 plus creature busting spells, inventive gear, and character sheet templates. So all of that in there. I would probably put those back in, but let's open this bad boy. Table of contents. So we got chapter 1 and an abridged history of the Iron Kingdoms. We got character options in chapter 2, Chapter 3 is magic. Chapter 4 is equipment. And then we're on to the index. This is kind of cool. It's got little kind of notes of lore and such in it. Like this one. I've just seen the membership coin. They delivered a bloody ton of the things. I need you to find out who among your department was soft-headed enough to telegraph out Blackley Hall, much less the person who approved it. The only Blackley Hall I can find is out of damned King's Vine. We'll be shipping our dead across half the bloody kingdom. Find out who's responsible for this and instruct them to report to the custodial department. Dictated but not read, Banning Keller. So, a little introduction to the workshop. And again, like it's just the way that they have stuff in here. It feels like you're reading a file. There's inky like fingerprints on this, like it's been used and such. Things that look like postcards or stamps kind of throughout it. It's really a lot of fun. It's a lore. I'm loving all of this. I mean, we're just kind of in the background history of the Strangelight. And it's fun. I will say though, it does seem like a lot of reading. Strangelight Workshop timeline. Here we have a letter from Jacob Statmore. Kind of getting into what it says. I like how it says "do not staple" across the top of all of these. There's coffee stains. It's just they did some nice work with this and such. And it's a lot of lore. I will say that, and it's a lot of like reading lore. We're still going. We're 100 pages in, and we're still reading lore. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because as a DM, that gives you plenty of stuff to work with and to go. But I mean, I could be you could spend a lot of time just reading that. Here we got to chapter 2, 135 pages in to get to chapter 2 in the character options. That's a thick chunk of lore in this book. I don't think I said how many pages it is off the background. 332 is what we got. Something there. And so then we get into kind of, again, the fun stuff. Talks about intellect, mighty, agile, gifted, pious. So some kind of those, we get into the ancestries. We got gobbers, which is kind of their version of a goblin. We got humans. With some different kind of factions there. Soen, which is kind of their version of elves. The Nis, which are like dark elves. The Ogren, which are kind of like ogres, but like half ogres. The Rule Folk, which are kind of your dwarves. The Trollkin. So some great ones. And again, this is compatible with 5e, so you can bring in some 5e stuff, but you know, there's a lot of other supplements out there for War Machine as well. So you could work that in. Character classes. We have the Arcanist. So I think it looks like your Spellcaster. All sorts of fun stuff there. We have the Bouncer. And this, I can say from reading it, these are... They're set roles within kind of a Strangelight team. So like the bouncer is kind of to make sure that nobody interrupts the investigation. We have the caller who's supposed to call to the haunt. What else we got here? We got the investigator. I can't quite remember what all they do. It's been a while since I've read. I think they kind of capture everything. There's the jammer. The mechanic, which is simple. They're the ones that kind of keep all of the gear and such working. So you kind of have your team. And then, of course, we have some fun background stuff so that you can, of course, make your character you know, far more interesting. Like, are they part of the City Watch or a folklorist, grave touched, a hoaxer, machinist, marked, noble, an occultist, resurrectionist, unclaimed, witch blood. And then there's some stuff about companies in here. So some motivations for why you joined the workshop. Then we get into like the magic, and magic we see a lot of looks like runes, resurrection, all that. And again, look at these lists. They're all just paper clipped kind of in there. Devil's Tongue, Dark Fire, Fortune. So some really kind of fun stuff in there. Let's keep going. Equipment. We get, of course, some classic equipment stuff out. And quite a few things. There's even things in here for tool malfunction, catastrophic failure. And then we get into, I believe, some stuff that is more kind of for like the DM to see. But really a cool looking book. All right, so that was the Strangelight workshop. Let's take a look at Obojima. So first off, I will say, and again, not really trying to complain, but I was a little annoyed that my mine came crunched. So that's a little disappointing for as long as I've waited for this. But I have to say, I love the art and such in it. And the keytar, that's great. The reference to a Game Boy. I mean, it's just kind of really a cool bit of art and such. So with this book, if we're kind of dive into what all are you getting with this book, one thing that's in here, I don't know if this is going to happen in the retail release, but it did come with mine. We have a map of Obojima, so showing kind of all of kind of the different settings, or at least different places, locations, giving you a nice start with that. A nice map, and that's some nice quality paper on that map. Could set that aside. The book itself, with here, we're looking at 365-ish pages. I might have missed one. Yeah, 365. And we have a whole slew of things that you would expect to find in a book like this. So let's dive into this lovely book. And as I said, my only so far thing on the art, like I love the art on the front cover. This giant shark skeleton floating dragon thing is awesome. I just really wish my book would not have came as damaged and crinkled as it did. But we can open this thing up. We have our some wonderful little things. If you want to learn more, they have their own YouTube channel, so go check them out on that. And we just have, again, kind of our contents. So stuff about the world, the island, some locations. We have our player options, magic items, spells and potions are a big thing. That's just and I picked up something that'll help with that. The Hero's Journey boon system that's in here, friends and foes, which is kind of giving you some kind of allies and creatures. So there's some mysteries and histories and some adventures that you can use to start out with. So it's I will say it is a beautiful, beautiful book. I love the art in it. It's very evocative with it, and in fun ways. You know, as I flip to this, where the road is turning into this dragon flying up into the sky, but then even things like the symbology down here, just it invokes ideas. And that's, to me, the big thing you want with a setting is that if you're going to play in a setting, you want it to invoke something and give you lots of ideas of what you can run with. I love this for a timeline where it's a mixed tape. That's just great. So it talks about some of the technology, got factions. I mean, you could learn a whole lot. There's a whole thing about witches and covens in here. So lots of fun things in here. And that's kind of the neat thing with it, is it gives you a full world full of just interesting tech and, and vehicles. And, they describe it as a cozy type of game. And I get that feeling. This isn't going to be your usual hack and slash adventure, but you can see as it's telling us about different places, we're getting NPCs, we're getting threats, we are getting points of interest and adventure hooks that you could easily run, some legends, kind of all these great things just to help you start. So Yataman, the first age city, this is where that new book is focusing in on. So we'll jump kind of forward a little bit, but we have just a ton of stuff to really kind of start, if you're a DM, coming up with what all you'd want to do with it, and the things that you would love to run with. Oh, that's just evocative. And I enjoy it immensely. So great bit of setting and lore. It's the kind of thing where you could just look through this book and easily come up with story ideas. So we're getting into, as we come here, what do we switch over to? Adventure hooks. So these are still looks to be okay. So then we get into the player options. We have the ancestries. So we have humans, the Dara, and which are these kind of fishy looking people. We got elves, which they went very Legend of Zelda with their elves, which is fine. The Nakadama, which are these frog people. So, and then of course, it also gives you the context for the basic races, so that you could, if you wanted to still play a dwarf or a half orc or a gnome, you still could. We have subclasses in here because they offer some new ones. I'm not going to fully dive into all of them, but things like for the barbarian, we have the Path of the Belly Brewer. We have for the bard, the College of Masks, which is kind of cool. It's probably the first thing that just looking at, and I haven't even read all of this, but it might be the first thing that makes me ever want to play a bard. So there's that. For the druid, we have the Circle of the Petal. Fighter, we have the Spirit Fused. I love the fact that she's holding this baseball bat that's got lightning and such on it. The Sheep Dragon Shepherd for the monk, which is kind of a cool different take. The Oath of the River for the paladin. We have a Corrupted Ranger. The Waxwork Rogue. The Oni Bloodline Sorcerer. The Lantern Warlock. I mean, there's just some cool things. The Origami Mage. There's just some really cool things in here. We got backgrounds, of course, some languages, because there's some different things set up for this. And then we get into kind of all of the classic equipment that you expect. And of course, then they have some things that are just really kind of interesting, like this vertebrae sword that's up at the top. So this is just a fun setting. And we have our feats, our conditions, magic items. Yeah. CRTV and chicken timer. That's great. The guitar I've already shown. So just some really cool items that just make this kind of fun. There's a whole slew of spells in here that you could add into your stuff. Ember Belly, Festival King, Pacify Monster, Origami Bird Swarm. That's an interesting one. So some really kind of fun stuff. We get into brewing and potions and how you go about doing that. Regional ingredient list and all the different ingredients and how much they're worth. And you can see they went a long ways with that to really give you a lot of fun stuff that you could use. There's combat potions, so it tells you kind of the things you can make. So a lot of stuff. That that hero journey boon system, which I need to read more to fully understand it. And then friends and foes. You have everything from animated objects. We definitely have some fun kind of monsters in here. What I like is that they're not necessarily super scary, which is great, because I've definitely been talking to my kids, especially my son, about role-playing. I just introduced him to Legend of Zelda, and I think he could really get into some of this sort of stuff. I need to figure out a way to do kind of a D&D light for kids. It's on my list, but just kind of floating through here as I get to, of course, giant jellyfish and then giant koi floating through the sky. Yeah, there's just some fun things in here, and that's what I like about it. It's just got a wonderful world with everything, and I think you could just get lost in this book reading all of this lore. And that to me is, the fun things. We get into mysteries, so things that you could run with. Why is there 80s technology in Obojima? There's just, overall, this is a fun book. And then we get some adventures. I don't want to spoil any of that, but overall, I think this is an impressive book. So a couple of other things that came besides the book that I maybe splurged a little bit on. We have this here, which, if I'm not mistaken, and this has been a while, so I can't remember. I think this is what I think it is. I think this is a Dungeon Master screen. Let's see. Oh, it's not. It is just a beautiful poster for it. Cool. I wouldn't say it's my favorite piece of art. It's a little different from some of the pieces that I like a little bit more, but you know what? It's decent enough. It might end up on the wall of the cave. So, if the package somehow manages to survive my repackaging. So, poster to go along with that map. I did get 2 sets of cards that they offer with it, spells and items. And part of the reason I went with these goes back to my love of 4E. And just the 4E, you could have cards for your powers, for your equipment, and things like that. And I thought it was a really great way to help players see what they could could do. You can look at the cards, you can read them while you're waiting for your turn. You could figure out your game plan. So I just grabbed the spells. Now I'm throwing spells. Watch out. Ours become a wizard. So with these, we have just kind of a nice backing. They do kind of say who it goes for. So like this card here, we have Wind Spirit. It's a level 2 evocation. So, and it gives you all of our basic kind of stats and such that you would need along with that. And there's a nice wide variety on these. The cards are nice. They're of a nice linen quality. About the only thing, and I understand, like with some of these cards, like this one for a Gale Stallion, there is so much text on this card, but there is a part of me that kind of wishes there was a little bit of art involved in some of these, just to break it up. But it is also nice that they are numbered so that you can easily put this back in order if you wish to keep it in order. But some really nice cards for the playing on that side with those. Let's look at the item cards real quick. So let me ask while I open this up, do you play with cards? Do you like having those sorts of items with your game, and do you feel like that tends to help things? Let me know. So these ones are different. They still, very much like the other ones, have kind of your basic, here's the info. I know my lights are shining on it. Here's your text and what it does. They're again numbered. They match pretty well, although the font is a little different. The nice thing is on the back, they do show what the item is. So it's kind of nice because it gives you an idea, like this one, the anglerfish helm, what exactly does that look like? And so you can actually get a feel for it. It kind of makes me want to just, instead of looking at the text side, to just flip it over and just scroll through some of these really awesome things. So looking at these cards, I mean, the art, as you scroll through them, I love it. They're just the mix of things that are very mystical and yet things that are very modern in them, like this scuttling lantern, but then just something as simple as a scarf or a bicycle. Things that you could find, again, in a setting that is very Legend of Zelda, like this lunar weapon or this Lafula's iron teapot, are cool. Jabadoon's feather. I mean, it was right next to an Instaprint camera. So it's just this really kind of wonderfully eclectic stuff that I think really makes this the keys to the sandcastle. That's great. It feels very flavorful, and that's one of the things that really drew me to this setting was the art and the flavor of items like these. The other extra that I got with this was they had this potions and ingredients box. And what this is, and I'll just read it off the back here, the complete rule set for creating recipes and brewing potions in D&D 5e. You could take and bring this into other settings within the system if you want. This box contains everything you need to brew potions in 5e. It includes cards for all 130 ingredients and the 180 unique potions they can be synthesized into, featuring quick reference rules guide, high quality cards, and whimsical artwork. The entire potion brewing system in 5e compatible and can easily be added to any game. So that's a really, to me, this one of the reasons I went for this as an add-on is, as I said, I kind of like having the cards. All right, so let's look at this potions and ingredients box. Open it up. It's a nice quality box. The first thing we are greeted with is this potions and ingredients little rule set book. I love the art with the happy pig and then the angry mushrooms. It's great. And in here, it looks like we just kind of have our very simple rules for ingredients, getting ingredients, foraging and salvaging, almanacs. So giving you some just different things to work off of. So, yeah, just a nice little kind of primer for this. So, like, there's a Boomberry, Combat 7, Utility 6, Whimsy 1. So, telling you kind of how to put together these potions to achieve the effect that you are looking for. So, it also gives you an idea of how common the ingredients are. There's a potion mishaps table, which I think is great. Like, look at this number 7 one here. Heals grow in your gut for the next hour. Every so often, you cough one up. That's a great. So a nice little book to understand kind of the potion rules that are in the main book. And then in here, we have these nicely wrapped little bundles. Let's open one up. Okay. And now I will flip through them in my best impression of one of those guys who opens up Magic or Pokemon cards on the internet. Let's hope for some big draws. Anyway, it looks like the pack that I picked up is different potions. The potion of melodious bird calls is this first one. When you drink this frothy liquid, you can perfectly mimic the call of any songbird for 24 hours. And it's on the back here. It does tell you if it's a common. But yeah, just it looks like I opened up a whole pack of just some of the different brews that you can get. And again, like I said, with the items cards or the spell cards, you know, it's just a nice way to have something in your inventory that you can look at and quickly reference. That's kind of why I like having cards. Grand Friendship. Oh, you know, let's skip. All right, here we go. The big hit. Oh, it's a disappearing act. Well, no wonder we didn't find a big hit. So it looks like we have some that are potions. As I quickly open this one, because I think I saw that this was ingredients as I kind of looked through the thing, just so we can maybe see what the ingredients side looks like. But I open the pack upside down. So yeah, here we have, again, the different ingredients with a description on it, and then it has our kind of our different elements on here of combat, utility, and whimsy that help us determine what kind of potions we make out of it. Living Spud. Pock plugs. I'm just kind of showing off some of these spark plugs. Don't drink anything with spark plugs mixed in it. That I can't recommend. Do not do. Bubble gum. Cauldron bubble. That's great. Oh, these are fun. And I think it's going to be well worth kind of looking through. Although there's a lot of stuff in here, and I think you could spend a long time just looking at stuff and learning all sorts of lore. Tears of the Moon, and we're going to end with Woo-Foo Whiskey. All right, drinks are on me. All right, so let's talk about these two different supplements after going through all of that, and that was a lot. Let's start with Strangelight Workshop. I am impressed with this. They hit a theme and they went for it in a way that is far better than anything else that has been put out by Privateer Press when it comes to War Machine. I mean, if you look at any of the regular War Machine books, they look like a D&D book. They're following a lot of that. I mean, the art is kind of there. Some of the stylings, I mean, it feels familiar in that. That book, it has all this great subtle flavor to it, with the notes being paper clipped on, the way that the artwork looks like that, and like there's things crammed into it. You feel like you're getting a lived in, worked in book, and that's fun. I haven't seen theming like that since the Dresden Files RPG, where there they had this whole in-world, like, hey, we're editing a book because we made a role-playing game about our lives, and there's funny snide comments and such about it. I just really appreciate what's, the thought, the care that went into that. That feels incredibly flavorful, and I love it. I will say, I don't know how well it's going to be compatible with other D&D elements and settings, because this seems like it's very geared towards, if you're going to do a Strangelight workshop, you're going on a haunt. It works for a particular game, and I don't know that it's going to work, I don't know how well it's going to mix in. Like, if you're starting off with your standard adventure party, now, hey, we're going to work in that, like, we're going on this haunting thing, and you need these particular roles. I don't know that it quite works like that. So, and I'm saying that not even just from like general D&D, but if you're playing in kind of this War Machine, Iron Kingdoms, I don't know why it took me so long to get to Iron Kingdoms. But if you're playing with this Iron Kingdoms setting, I don't know how often you're going to like switch gears and jump to, now we're going to work in all of this haunting tech and such. So I don't know how it works great to that, but as a standalone, I think it would be fun. I don't know how much of a campaign you'd want. I think it might get a little, but again, I haven't played it. It's just based off of what I've seen, but I love the flavor of it. If I give it anything, it's very text heavy, and I wish it had a little bit more art and such kind of through the book, and just to give you more of a feel and a flavor for it. When it comes to the accessories that came with it, again, everything in it feels like it was thought out. I sometimes feel like with Kickstarters, you're getting things that are, they're nice, but they're clearly things that have just been added on to just add value. And these things, from the cloth map, amazing. The stamper, great. If I'm a DM who wants to maybe create something like a prop, be able to make my own stamps of that, great. I don't have to just print something out and go, oh, here's the letter, let's print out. It's just very cool. I really like a lot of that detail work, even like the DM screen, which I'm not a huge DM screen player. I like, it's got that whole like investigatory conspiracy theory feel to it. It's wonderful. I like it a lot. I think it on theme, it's a 10 out of 10. On maybe all of the graphical representation, I don't know that I normally read things. It's it's like a 7. I want a little bit more, kind of detail on that. Lore, it's probably in that 7 to 8 range. It looks like there's a ton of reading that you could do and learn a whole lot about, the Iron Kingdoms and the Strangelight workshop and all of that. Overall presentation value, amazing. I'm excited to buy it. I'm looking forward to putting this on the shelf. I got to find a way to put that big white box up here somewhere in the cave that just shows it off, and that map. I'm gonna have to. I got to figure a way to put that up too, because that's just cool. And I'm gonna get my name written on the Strangelight Workshop certificate and hang that up. I might even go put that in my office at work, just as a fun thing. It's a little late when I'm doing this. There's a part of me, my work does a Halloween office decorating contest, and I think I could use some of this stuff as props. I'm going to have to think about that next year. Next year might be the year of the Strangelight Workshop. I really got to think about that now. Let's talk about Obojima. Obojima, very different, but also really hits its flavor. It knows what it's doing. It chose two things to mesh together: Legend of Zelda, Studio Ghibli, kind of that light, cozy feel. And again, I think that they have executed brilliantly on that. The look of it, the feel of it. To me, I'm excited for it because I'm like, again, I want to get my kids into playing D&D. Because I think they'd have a lot of fun with it. My son, in general, and I feel like that's a little bit safer, less scary of a world than kind of regular D&D. So it might be a good starting spot. It is probably still a bit too rules heavy for him. He is only 5. He can't read, but I think I could pull some stuff from that to kind of help get him into the feel. But I love the art in that book, because it is fun and evocative. The one thing I will say for a crossover thing, if you wanted to work it into your campaign, again, I don't know that it's going to work well. Much like Strangelight Workshop, I think you're going to be you're going to run a campaign in Obojima, but you're not going to mix in a lot of probably other D&D flavors to it. I don't know that those are going to mix real well. I think if you're going to do that one, you kind of as a group need to agree that that's the setting you're playing in. And I just don't know how that will function with some of the other things. If somebody wants to just play a straight up monk or a barbarian, how does that fit into that world? And maybe once I read it, there's a little bit more to explain how you can play some of those other things in there. But right now, it feels like it's very much its own thing, which is fine. But I kind of want more. So it's a beautiful setting. Going back to the Kickstarter, I may go in and just pick up the new book to go with it and just to expand it, because I think it's a cool world and it's worth maybe exploring some more. So I'm excited about both of these. I think they are fantastic products. I think a lot of care and love went into these. And so if you are a Dungeons and Dragons playing person and you're looking at these, you might consider giving them a shot. If they're two totally different flavors, but if one of these flavors got you scintillating, they'd be great. And I'm now my whole thought when I started this video was we're doing a comparison. Which one wins out? I don't know. I guess I didn't talk about Ojima's secondary stuff. It's not as cool as Strangelight's. I got a poster and it's not the best. It's not my favorite art from the series. It's a little washed out. It's all right. It's not my favorite. The map is nice. The cloth map's a little bit better, but I like the cards that it came with, both for the spells, the items, and the potions. I feel like that was a good add-on, because I felt like there's so much of that stuff that having that sort of stuff could easily help. I could also see taking those cards and a 3-ring binder with the page, the sleeves for cards, like Pokemon cards or Magic cards, and sliding all of those in and creating kind of your own potion book, in a sense, might be very handy as well. So overall, I think two very good 5e supplements. They both of them got my juices going. Wish I had a game group, because I think I would love to play both of these and give them a try. But let me know what your thoughts are. Did you back either of these? Have you received them? What are your takes on them? Are you looking to play? I know that some of the rules for Obojima have been out there and you could get the PDFs and have been playing. Have you been playing? What do you think of it? Also, hey, do you like cards and certain accessories? Also, are you a DM screen kind of GM? I'm just curious. So a lot of questions that you could answer down there. But if you made it this far through the video, thank you. Thank you for tuning in, checking this out. I hope it works. It's my first time kind of trying to review something in this light and in this space. And I think there's definitely some things I can improve for next time. But, you got to start somewhere and you got to try something. And this has been a great start. And with that, I've been doing a lot of talking. I should call it a night because I gotta clean up some stuff I threw on the floor. But again, if you made it this far, thank you very much. I'm a small YouTuber. Fine, always happy to grow. If you liked it, feel free to give out a like and subscribe. You don't have to, but it's appreciated. Always like to grow the channel, get more people involved in just sharing in the hobby. And with that, hopefully, we'll catch you all back down here in the cave again next time. Good night, everybody.